A battle over who to blame for the coronavirus outbreak is being fought over the airwaves of the Middle East. Russian and Chinese state media, broadcasting in Arabic, are spreading the conspiracy that the virus is an American biological weapon. I'm Raf Sanchez with the NBC News Verification Unit. We've been investigating how Russian and Chinese state disinformation campaigns have been spreading in Arabic. And we've spoken to a small group of young Arabic speakers who are taking a stand against that false news. Here's what we found. Russia Today Arabic and China Global Television Arabic are each funded by their respective governments. In the last few months, we've seen a similar storyline develop on both networks, the suggestion that the coronavirus started in a US government lab. Take a look at this video from Russia Today, which we tracked and translated. It features a so-called biological weapons expert who says the virus came from a ring of US facilities in Asia.
لا أعتقد أنها مصادفة، أعتقد أن إنها خطة. فحول الصين يوجد 25 مختبرا بيولوجيا أمريكيا تعمل صحيح حول حدوده في كازاخستان وقرغيزستان ولاوس وفيتنام وتايوان وكوريا الجنوبية.
To be clear, there's no evidence of a ring of US labs encircling China, nor is there any evidence that the coronavirus started in an American facility. Here's similar footage from Chinese state television, again, broadcasting for an Arabic-speaking audience. The anchor claims Japanese tourists caught coronavirus last summer after visiting Hawaii, and says a US military lab mysteriously shut down just before the outbreak.
بينما اختفت البيانات المتعلقة بهذا المختبر على شبكة الإنترنت.
There's no truth to the claim that Japanese tourists contracted the virus last year. And while a US military lab in Maryland did temporarily close in 2019, it's since reopened. There's no evidence that closure was linked to the coronavirus. In fact, experts and intelligence agencies have concluded that the virus could not have been created in a lab.
We took a look at this data very objectively. We even considered the possibility that it could have been made in a laboratory or accidentally escaped from a laboratory somewhere, and we totally rejected that hypothesis. No human could have created this virus.
The state actors spreading these conspiracies are giant channels with huge resources. But a few grassroots groups are pushing back against their falsehoods and other forms of coronavirus misinformation in the Middle East. There you go, exactly. Perfect.
All right.
Ideas Beyond Borders is the brainchild of Faisal al-Mutar, an Iraqi refugee who came to the US in 2013 and is now an American citizen living in New York.
Ideas Beyond Borders' mission is to provide a positive alternative to extremism, authoritarianism, and censorship. And the way we do that is that we translate and we promote ideas that promote critical thinking, human rights, pluralism, science, and all of the other values that are not hardly accessible in the region in their own languages.
Arabic is one of the world's most spoken languages, but the UN estimates just 3% of internet content is available in Arabic. The population of the Arab world is young, it's digitally savvy, and it's hungry for knowledge. But widespread censorship means it doesn't always have access to reliable sources of information. Since the start of the corona outbreak, teams of translators from Ideas Beyond Borders have been working around the clock. They've translated CDC health guidelines, Wikipedia articles on the virus's origins, and news of the global economic slowdown. They've done more than 90,000 words so far.
Translation,
We caught up with 6 young translators in Syria to hear about their work.
When coronavirus first started, we made a team of medical students and doctors. We were tense, and we agreed on the fact that we are going to stand against this whole random information about vaccines and about local treatments and all this kind of conspiracy theories, because it was making a very great damage, especially in our region.
Faisal hopes his group's work will help spread reliable facts in Arabic across the internet, and that will empower people in the region to fight disinformation coming from both home and abroad.